Commander Hannah Park stood on the bridge of the ESV horizon, her eyes fixed on the swirling blue-green vortex ahead. The wormhole pulsed with energy, both beautiful and terrifying. After years of preparation, humanity was about to venture beyond their solar system for the first time. "All systems ready, Commander," reported Lieutenant Tae Kim, his voice steady despite the tension filling the bridge. "Structural integrity holding at 98%. Hannah nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the glow of the control panels. "Take us in, Lieutenant." Steady approach. The horizon moved forward, its engines humming as the ship entered the wormhole. The vessel shuddered around them, screens flashing with warnings and data streams. For 17 seconds that felt like an eternity, they traveled through the twisting passage between stars. Then, suddenly, calm. The ship emerged into unknown space, surrounded by stars and patterns no human had ever seen before. The bridge crew sat in stunned silence until Hannah spoke. "Status report." Tae's fingers moved quickly across his console. "Ship intact. All crew accounted for. Commander, we have multiple contacts at bearing 045. The main screen shifted to show a massive structure floating against the darkness. It was clearly artificial, a giant ring-shaped station with extending arms that reached out like metal fingers. Smaller vessels moved around it in ordered patterns. "We're being scanned," said Communications Officer Mina Yoon. "They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies." Hannah straightened her uniform. "This is what we prepared for. Open a channel." Before Mina could respond, the screen filled with the image of a being unlike anything they had seen before. It had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on a narrow face, and skin that seemed to shift colors as it moved. "Welcome travelers," the alien said in perfect English, surprising everyone. "You have reached Outpost 73 of the Galactic Concord. Please identify yourselves." Hannah stepped forward. "I am Commander Hannah Park of the Earthship Horizon. We come in peace as representatives of humanity." The alien's eyes blinked in sequence. "Humanity? This is unexpected. Please maintain your position. A reception committee will guide you to Docking Bay 12. Within hours, the horizon was secured at the massive space station. Hannah led a team of 8 humans through an airlock and into the unknown. They were met by a group of different alien species, some tall and spindly, others short and stocky, one that seemed to float above the ground. "I am Ambassador Vex," said the tallest being, its skin pale blue with patterns that glowed faintly. "You are the first of your kind to join us here." Hannah and her team were given a tour of the station, learning that it served as a trading hub and diplomatic center for what they called the Galactic Concord, an alliance of over 30 different civilizations from across this section of the galaxy. During a formal dinner that evening, the humans were the center of attention. Various alien representatives asked questions about Earth, human biology, and their technology. "Fascinating," said a reptilian being when Hannah explained their journey. "You traveled for 17 continuous hours to reach the wormhole?" "Yes," replied Hannah. "We had rest shifts, of course." The aliens exchanged glances. "Your endurance is unsettling," remarked Ambassador Vex. "Most species require extended rest cycles after such exertion." As the evening continued, Hannah noticed the aliens' growing interest when she mentioned ancient Earth mysteries, the pyramids, Stonehenge, and other structures that some believed had extraterrestrial origins. "You speak of your cousins who may have left your world?" asked a blue-skinned diplomat suddenly. The room fell silent. The casual atmosphere shifted, becoming tense. An elderly alien with wrinkled gray skin approached their table. Unlike the others, it moved slowly, deliberately. "I am Ambassador Lith," it said in a deep voice. "How interesting that you would speak of such things on your first day among the stars." "It's just an old theory on Earth," explained Hannah, sensing the change in mood. "Some believe ancient humans may have been visited by." "There are others like you among the stars," interrupted Lith, its eyes fixed on Hannah. "We call them the nomads." The humans looked at each other in shock while murmurs spread among the alien representatives. "That information is not for newcomers," Lith hissed Ambassador Vex. Lith made a dismissive gesture. They would learn eventually. Besides, the Concord voted. It is time. Hannah stepped forward. What do you mean, others like us? Are you saying there are other humans out here? Not exactly like you, said Lith, but yes, beings who share your origins. They were taken from your world long ago. They have evolved differently. We must meet them, said Hannah firmly. Ambassador Vex sighed. The nomads occupy the restricted sectors. They are challenging. But arrangements can be made. The journey to the restricted sectors took 3 days. Commander Hannah Park spent most of that time reviewing the limited information the Concord had provided about the nomads. Ambassador Vex had warned her team repeatedly about cultural differences and unpredictable behaviors, which only increased their curiosity. Approaching coordinates, announced Lieutenant Tae Kim as their ship slowed. Sensors show a habitable planet ahead. Desert climate, thin atmosphere, high gravity. Through the viewscreen, they watched a rust-colored world grow larger. Its surface was mostly barren except for scattered green patches near what appeared to be water sources. We're being hailed, said Communications Officer Mina Yoon. A face appeared on screen, unmistakably human, yet subtly different. The man had deep tan skin, sharp features, and eyes that seemed to glow slightly in the dim light of his transmission chamber. Earth vessel, this is Duna Station. I am Director Jun Kong. You have permission to land at the marked coordinates. The landing was rough. The planet's gravity pulled at them as they stepped onto the surface, where the air was thin and hot. A group of people waited nearby, all tall and lean with the same glowing eyes as Jun Kong. Welcome, Earthkin, said Jun, stepping forward. He was nearly 7 feet tall, towering over Hannah and her crew. We have waited many generations for this meeting. The nomads led them to a settlement built partially underground. Carved into red stone cliffs, the colony was a network of tunnels and chambers with gardens growing under special lights. Despite the harsh environment outside, inside was cool and comfortable. Our ancestors were taken from your world 15 millennia ago, explained June as they sat in a large meeting hall. The beings who took us, we call them the Collectors, intended us as laboratory specimens and later as slaves. Hannah noticed the nomads all moved with unusual grace despite the heavy gravity. You've adapted to this world. June smiled. We have changed in many ways. This was not our first home among the stars. We have lived on 12 different worlds over thousands of years. An older woman brought drinks in clay cups. When she looked directly at Hannah, the commander felt a strange presence in her mind, a gentle touch, like fingers brushing against her thoughts. Yes, said June, noticing her reaction. Some of us developed limited telepathic abilities. Another adaptation. The Collectors did not expect humans to be so flexible in our evolution. Later, during a communal meal, the Earth humans shared stories of their world while the nomads told tales of their exodus from captivity and their long journey through space. Despite their differences, Hannah was struck by how fundamentally similar they remained, the same humor, the same curiosity, the same determination. The Concord seems nervous about our meeting, said Hannah as they finished eating. They described this as a restricted sector. June's expression darkened. The Concord fears what they cannot control. Our history with them is complicated. A young nomad woman named Sue brought out a holographic projector. It displayed a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy with colored regions marking different territories. We trade with many worlds, June explained, pointing to several highlighted routes. But the Concord maintains buffer zones to keep us separate from their core worlds. And from Earth. Tay studied the map carefully. This doesn't make sense. Based on these trade routes, ships from your world could have reached Earth centuries ago. Precisely, said June. The Concord has deliberately kept our peoples apart. Hannah frowned. Why would they do that? Because they fear what we might become together, replied June, his glowing eyes intense. Humans adapt faster than any species they've encountered. Earth humans developed technology at an unprecedented rate. Nomad humans evolved biological abilities that should have taken millions of years. Sue stepped forward. And we are not the only ones. There are rumors of another group, taken even earlier than our ancestors. That night, Hannah couldn't sleep despite her physical exhaustion. She walked through the underground gardens, marveling at how these distant cousins had created beauty in such a harsh environment. "Trouble resting?" asked June, appearing beside her. Hannah nodded. "I'm trying to process everything. All our history, everything we thought we knew, is still true," said June. "But incomplete. Just as our knowledge is incomplete." "The Concord is hiding something," said Hannah. "I need to know why they kept us apart." June looked up through a crystal skylight at the stars above. "Tomorrow, I will show you something that may provide answers. We found Concord records during one of our disagreements with them. They classify both Earth humans and nomads as potentially destabilizing species." "What does that mean?" The morning light filtered through the crystal skylights of the nomad colony, casting rainbow patterns across the walls. Hannah and June sat in a secure room deep within the cliff dwellings, surrounded by holographic displays showing classified Concord documents. "We obtained these files 3 years ago," explained June, his tall frame hunched over a control panel. "Our scouts intercepted a damaged Concord vessel. Before their rescue arrived, we copied their databases." Hannah read the glowing text with growing concern. "Potentially destabilizing species, recommended containment protocols, genetic development monitoring. They've been studying us like lab animals." Day Lee, her communications specialist, pointed to another section. "Look at this, Commander. Both Earth and the nomad worlds are surrounded by what they call dampening fields, technologies that subtly hinder certain types of scientific advancement. They've been holding us back?" Hannah's voice was quiet but filled with anger. June nodded. "For centuries. When we develop certain technologies too quickly, mysterious accidents occur. Research facilities explode. Key scientists fall ill. We suspected outside interference but could never prove it." Sue, the young nomad woman, entered the room with more data crystals. "There's worse," she said. "The files contain references to a third human variant, somewhere in the galactic core." The room fell silent as June activated another hologram. A star map appeared, with a region near the center marked with a warning symbol. "The Forbidden Zone," he explained. "No Concord ships enter this region. They tell everyone it's because of dangerous radiation, but these files suggest otherwise." Hannah studied the map. "If there are more humans out there, we need to find them. The Concord has manipulated us all for too long." Within hours, a plan formed. The Earthship Horizon would carry a joint team of Earth humans and nomads to investigate the coordinates hidden in the classified files. June would come as the nomad representative, along with 3 of his people who had experience in space combat. "The Concord monitors will notice your ship leaving," warned Sue as they prepared to depart. "We've modified our emission signatures," said Tay. "They'll think we're heading back to Earth." The journey began smoothly. For 3 days, they traveled through Concord space using fake identification codes provided by the nomads. Hannah was impressed by how skillfully her new allies navigated the complex political landscape of the galactic community. On the 4th day, everything changed. "Multiple vessels approaching," announced Tay, his voice tense. "Concord military signatures. They're forming a blockade pattern." A transmission came through. The face of Ambassador Vex filled the screen, his usual diplomatic expression replaced with cold authority. "Commander Park. You have violated restricted space and are traveling with known dissidents. Power down your systems immediately and prepare to be boarded." Hannah looked at June, who stood calmly beside her. "They were waiting for us," she said. "This was a trap." "No," replied June. "They're afraid. They would not commit this many resources otherwise." Hannah turned back to the screen. "Ambassador, we are on a peaceful mission of exploration. By what authority do you restrict our movement?" "By authority of the Galactic Concord Security Council," replied Vex. "Your vessel will be escorted back to Earth, and the nomads will be returned to their designated territories.
Hannah cut the transmission.
Options, she asked her crew. Tay studied his console.
We can't outrun them, but there's a dense asteroid field nearby. If we can reach it.
Do it, ordered Hannah.
Full thrust.
The horizon lurched forward, accelerating toward the field of space rocks.
Behind them, the Concorde ships moved to pursue.
They're charging weapons, called out Mina from her station. The first blast hit their rear shields, causing the ship to shudder.
Alarms blared throughout the vessel. Shield capacity at 60%, reported Tay. We can't take many more hits like that.
One of the nomads, a quiet man named Bin, stepped forward.
Let me help.
He placed his hands on the navigation console. His eyes began to glow brighter as he established a mental connection with the ship's systems.
What is he doing? Asked Hannah.
Enhancing your systems, explained June.
It's how we escaped the collectors generations ago.
The ship suddenly moved with incredible precision, weaving between asteroids that should have been impossible to navigate at such speed. Behind them, one of the pursuing Concorde vessels crashed into a large rock, its shields flaring as it spun out of control. They did not expect us to work together so effectively, said June with satisfaction. As they pushed deeper into the asteroid field, the Concorde ships fell back, unwilling to risk further damage.
Hannah watched them retreat on the sensors.
We've lost them for now, she said, but they'll regroup and search every possible route to the core. June studied the damaged star chart they had salvaged. We don't have complete coordinates to find our third cousins, but we have enough to reach the edge of the Forbidden Zone.
Hannah nodded, her resolve strengthening. Then that's where we'll go.
If the Concorde is this determined to stop us, we must be on the right track. As the horizon limped toward the galactic core, its systems damaged but functional, Hannah couldn't help wondering what they would find there and whether it would change everything they thought they knew about humanity's place among the stars.
The horizon traveled for 6 days through increasingly strange territory.
The stars grew denser as they approached the galactic core, and strange energy readings appeared on their sensors.
Repair work continued around the clock to fix damage from their escape.
We're approaching the edge of the Forbidden Zone, announced Tay, studying the navigation console.
Sensors are picking up something unusual ahead.
Through the view screen, they could see what looked like ripples in space itself, areas where stars seemed to bend and twist.
Gravitational anomalies, explained June.
Natural defenses around the core systems.
Hannah frowned. Can we navigate through them?
With difficulty, said Tay. But these patterns appear artificial.
Someone created these barriers.
They proceeded cautiously, using the partial coordinates from the stolen files to find a safe path.
After several tense hours of maneuvering, they emerged into a strangely empty region of space.
Ahead of them was a yellow star surrounded by several planets. I'm detecting massive structures in orbit around the third planet, reported Mina.
Unlike anything in Concorde records. As they approached, they could see enormous ring-shaped platforms circling the world.
Each was at least 10 times larger than the biggest Concorde station. Between them flowed steady streams of small vessels. We're being scanned, said Tay suddenly. His console lit up with warnings. These readings are off the charts.
They're looking at us down to the atomic level. Hannah stood from her command chair. Open a channel. Broadcast our peaceful intentions.
Before Mina could comply, the bridge filled with light. A figure materialized in the center of the room, not physically present, but a hologram so perfect it seemed solid. It was a woman in flowing silver garments, her features clearly human but with subtle differences. Her eyes were larger, almost luminous, and her skin had a slight blue tint. I am Sun Re of the Guardians, she said, her voice melodic and clear.
You have finally come. Hannah stepped forward.
I am Commander Hannah Park of Earth. This is June Kong of the Nomad Worlds.
Sun smiled. We know who you are.
We have watched your journey with great interest.
You were expecting us? Asked June.
For centuries, replied Sunday, though we did not know exactly when you would arrive.
Please, follow the guidance beacon to Docking Bay 7. We have much to discuss.
The hologram vanished, and a moment later, a soft blue light appeared ahead of their ship, guiding them toward one of the massive rings.
The docking bay they entered dwarfed their vessel. Other ships were present, some with designs similar to Concorde vessels, others completely alien.
As Hannah led her team out of the airlock, she was struck by the advanced technology surrounding them. The walls seemed to shift and flow, responding to the movements of people nearby. Sun-Ri waited for them, accompanied by several others who shared her distinctive appearance. "Welcome to Helio Station," she said. "The primary outpost of the Guardian Collective." They were taken on a transport that moved without visible engines, gliding silently through tunnels of light until they reached a vast open space in the center of the ring. It contained a city unlike anything they had ever seen. Buildings that seemed to grow from the floor, gardens that floated in midair, water that flowed upward in defiance of gravity.
"Who are you?" asked Hannah as they walked through the incredible city.
The Concorde files mentioned a third human variant, but this.
"We are human," said Sunday, "just as you are. Our ancestors were taken from Earth during what you would call the Bronze Age, approximately 5,000 years ago.
The beings who took us were researchers, studying the development potential of different species."
"The same ones who took our ancestors?" asked June.
Sun shook her head.
"No. Different beings with different purposes.
Yours sought slaves.
Ours sought partners, though in a misguided way."
She led them to a vast chamber filled with holographic displays showing images from across the galaxy, Concorde worlds, nomad territories, and Earth itself. "We were enhanced," continued Sunday, "our genetic code modified to accelerate our development.
Our minds expanded to process more information. Over thousands of years, we became what you see now." "You've been watching us all this time?" asked Hannah. "Why didn't you contact Earth?"
"It was not yet time," replied Sun simply.
"The galaxy needs balance.
Had we interfered too early, the Concorde would have taken more drastic measures against your worlds."
A loud alarm suddenly rang through the station.
One of the other Guardians approached, his expression serious.
"Concorde forces have entered the outer system," he reported. "A full battle fleet. They are demanding we surrender the Earth vessel and all its occupants." Sun's expression remained calm.
"They have grown more desperate than I expected."
"What will you do?" asked June. "The question," said Sun, turning to face both human groups, "is what will we do?"
The Guardians have remained hidden for millennia, watching and waiting. But perhaps now is the time for all children of Earth to stand together.
On a large display, they could see dozens of Concorde warships approaching the station.
Behind them, hundreds more gathered at the edge of the system. "They fear what we might become together," said Hannah, remembering June's words.
Sun nodded. "And they are right to fear it. Together, we represent humanity's greatest strength, our diversity of experience and our capacity to adapt and grow. The Concorde built its power on control and separation. We offer a different path. A path we should show to the rest of the galaxy," added June.
As the Concorde armada drew closer, the three human leaders began to plan. For the first time in 15,000 years, all branches of humanity would face the stars united. The Guardian station hummed with activity as ships from their hidden fleet emerged from concealed hangars. Each vessel gleamed with technology far beyond what the Concorde possessed.
Hannah stood at the observation deck, watching the preparations with a mixture of awe and concern.
"Will this lead to war?" she asked Sun, who stood beside her. "That depends on the Concorde," replied the Guardian leader. "We prefer another path."
The combined human fleet arranged itself in a defensive formation.
Earth's single ship, the Horizon, was joined by 5 nomad vessels that had responded to June's secret call. Around them, 20 Guardian ships took position, their sleek designs unlike anything Hannah had seen before. "The Concorde transmission is coming through," announced Jean Park, a tall Guardian who served as their diplomat. The main screen activated, showing a panel of aliens. At the center sat not Ambassador Vex, but a being with multiple eye stalks in gray, mottled skin, the High Chancellor of the Concorde. "This illegal gathering must disperse immediately," the Chancellor stated.
The Earth vessel has violated numerous protocols. The nomads have breached their territorial restrictions. And you, the aliens' eyes fixed on Sun. Your people were quarantined for the safety of all civilized species. Sun stepped forward. There will be no more quarantines, Chancellor. No more restrictions. The branches of humanity are reunited, and we intend to take our place in galactic society. Your species is unpredictable and dangerous, insisted the Chancellor. Your combined potential threatens the stability we have maintained for millennia. Hannah moved to stand beside Sunday. You mean the control you've maintained? You've manipulated entire civilizations, held back technological development, and kept species isolated from each other. Jean activated a transmission sequence. We are broadcasting evidence of Concord manipulation to all member worlds now, Chancellor. The full record of genetic tampering, sabotaged research, and manufactured conflicts. On secondary screens, they could see the information spreading across Concord communications networks. Reports began coming in of protests on various worlds, of member species demanding explanations from their representatives. You cannot simply, began the Chancellor, but the transmission suddenly split into multiple feeds as other Concord species began speaking directly to the Human Alliance. Is this true? Demanded a reptilian leader. Has the Council been suppressing our advancements? We were told the gravity drive was impossible, said another alien, its tentacles waving angrily. Yet the Guardians clearly possess it. The carefully maintained order of the Concord began to crack. Several ships from the blockading fleet broke formation, moving away from the confrontation. We must resolve this peacefully, Hannah said to the fractured Council. Humanity does not seek war or dominance. We propose a new framework for cooperation, one based on mutual growth rather than controlled stability. Jean stepped forward with a prepared declaration. We offer the free exchange of knowledge, open borders for peaceful travel, and joint exploration of the unknown regions beyond Concord space. Over the next several hours, more Concord ships withdrew as their home governments ordered them to stand down. The Chancellor's authority eroded with each departure. Finally, only a core group of loyalist vessels remained. You have caused irreparable damage to the galactic order, the Chancellor said bitterly. Centuries of careful balance, destroyed in a day. Not destroyed, corrected Sunday transformed. Change is not always a threat, Chancellor. 3 days later, representatives from 36 species gathered in the Great Hall of the Guardian Station. The Concord still existed, but its power had been fundamentally altered. A new council formed, with members from Earth, the Nomads, and the Guardians sitting alongside the most prominent Concord species. This is only the beginning, June told Hannah as they watched the proceedings. Many challenges lie ahead. Hannah nodded. But we'll face them together. All branches of humanity, united at last. Outside the station, ships from various worlds mingled freely for the first time in centuries. Knowledge that had been restricted now flowed between civilizations. Technologies long suppressed were being shared and improved upon. 6 months later, Hannah stood on the bridge of a new vessel, the Alliance ship Unity, built with combined human technologies. Earth scientists worked alongside Nomad navigators and Guardian engineers. They were preparing for their first mission beyond known space. Ready to make history again, Commander, asked Tay, now her first officer. Hannah smiled as she took her place in the command chair. The view screen showed Earth in the distance, a beautiful blue world that had finally taken its place among the stars. Dozens of ships from other worlds orbited her home planet, establishing diplomatic and trade connections. The universe is much bigger than we ever imagined, she said. And much more interesting. As the Unity prepared to jump to its first destination, Hannah thought about how far they had come. From a single ship venturing through a wormhole to a united human presence respected across the galaxy. The stars had always beckoned humanity forward, but now they would explore them not as separate branches, but as one family that had finally found its way home.